They are in town residential. And I sent him the list of permitted uses, conditional uses. And the code section talking about if it's not permitted or conditional, then it's prohibited. And right, what he wants to do is not on that list. So not allowed. And then David and I had also noticed an article in the newspaper from a couple of years ago, and then we saw it with our own eyes as well. He had installed a sign over on the property about Mountain View Performing Arts Field. So I included in my email that no signage can be
In town residential.
in town residential. You can't do a sign without proper approvals or permits. And so since you've got this up, you should take it down. So I haven't heard anything back.
Okay.
But he could get a permit for the sign in town residential. I thought there was no sign that unless it was like home occupation.
Right, right,
This was too big for it.
Yeah,
right. So,
which is 2x2 or something. Home, not his sign, home occupation.
yeah,
Yeah.
anyway, so he can't have a sign. So I told him that and
So he's just loving that he contacted us.
he probably is really not. So that's for that. Your letter that came in about the 2 lots on
Cascade. Road.
Cascade Road,
Zoning clearly is the answer to all their concerns.
correct. Some of their and actually Jim was just here. He would have been maybe a good memory. There's some assertions in there that I don't think are 100% accurate. I remember the gentleman and his former business partner, and it was going to be 2 single-family dwellings, one for this guy and his wife, and the other business partner and his wife. His assertion that it was for short-term rental, I don't remember that at all. So,
Or how could you build something for short-term rental use before short-term rental was a use?
correct.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
And our
Well, it's not like
description of,
short-term rentals, like just they exist.
It's a
from
house.
its previous form.
our description of Gateway and its use of short-term rentals clearly states you have to have road frontage,
It
right?
does.
Okay,
But
Yeah.
it doesn't even matter about it. The problem is they're not in gateway corridor. So the answer is you're in town residential. Here are the rules in
Okay.
town residential. You can't have an unhosted short-term rental. If you had one that was pre-existing, it was grandfathered in. Once there's a change of ownership, it's gone.
And
There's literally nothing complicated about their situation. Nothing.
okay.
Except for that their address is Cascade Road.
Which was outlined in Britt's letter.
yes, and when I'm looking at the zoning map, it's not just his one property. Yes, the properties that are fronting on Cascade or Gateway Corridor, but every property that is set back 1 from the road,
Is town residential.
all of those properties, it's a huge, like this whole brown
Right,
chunk is all town residential, and this is where he's in. So it's not just these 2 properties.
right.
Yeah, there was part of me that thought maybe it was I'm not gonna say an error, but maybe just
Like isolated.
yeah, like maybe,
Sure.
maybe there wasn't a lot of thought into it,
Yeah.
but then when I actually asked someone who had been to the properties and they said, it's actually very residential up
It's
there. And I was like,
very
oh, well,
residential.
then I'm glad it's town residential.
So like, right, there's our quick map that we've got. So, Cascade Road, and there's Mike Foot's, insurance, and then these are the 2 properties back here.
And their access through Mike Foot's.
Next to it.
Next to it, right next door.
Okay.
Can you get to it through Liberty Hill as well?
No,
By foot.
yeah, Planty Way at the end of, Liberty
Oh,
Hill.
the path.
Yeah, it all gels together.
It does, a little.
Right.
But it also could be kind of considered part of Liberty Hill neighborhood. Like it is
Sure.
residential in nature.
Yeah, so
×2.
I feel that is, clear cut
Done deal.
zoning and, okay. Septic,
Yes.
did you guys have questions about that?
I had one note, and I know you're getting sick of me giving input, but it's number 4. No property owner shall effect a conveyance of real property upon which is situate a septic system subject to this local law unless either the owner provides documentation that the septic system has been inspected within 1 year prior to the closing of the conveyance.
Mhm.
on Lake Placid, I'm guessing that no inspections ever take place unless we're involved. So my only comment was, should there be some confirmation from the town that that inspection has happened within the last year? It's really easy for somebody that wants to sell a big camp up
Mhm,
there or any
mhm,
camp,
mhm.
that, oh, I had so-and-so here last year to check it out.
Right,
We should have some kind of confirmation that makes that real.
Some sort of form that they have to fill out and. have it
I don't know.
covered.
In all my questions, the only thing I'm trying to avoid is non-compliance coming back where enforcement is forced on us,
Mhm.
which we all know is basically impossible. So somehow, when a seller finds a buyer, I want the vast majority of the pressure to be put on the seller. Not an agreement, somebody that loves that piece of property, oh yeah, I'll fix it. Bullshit. That,
I hear it.
I don't know another way to say
What
it.
were you just reading from, Derek?
On number 4,
So I did ask Tim, we had a discussion, of course, about the enforcement part of it. He did say, right, that this local law would be distributed to all of the, real estate agencies,
yeah,
to all of the attorneys, that are typically involved in this locally. Right, it is also, filed with the Department of State.
yeah.
So, right, we could do the same thing with, another mailing.
As long as we're always in the loop,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
important part. Because
Yeah.
selling it's the easy part.
Yeah, I do have
So how would you,
realtors who reach out and say, hey, here's the listings that we have coming up and, ask about.
how do we
How
have
to
a
buy
filing system?
inspections.
Like much like Derek's saying is like we get a piece of paper instead of just someone's word saying this is transpired.
Oh, yeah.
So how would that, I know that you have
We
those
have, we
iterations.
would have an engineered report
Okay,
And
or a report from the septic pump out company saying this is what we observed and they sign and date it and we have all those on file, the recent things.
Do you actually have like a physical file of of every camp that's on a septic? Do you think that's something you could develop? It's a project for Barry?
what is it, 274?
No,
No,
190. I'm making up
190?
numbers.
Yeah.
I think it's
Right.
closer to 190.
because it's just one of those things going back to what Derek's saying is like, I know that we have those different sort of mechanisms with
Mhm.
communications that would say, that would work, but nothing would be as explicit as saying some sort of form saying, attesting that this has happened, that the inspection happened, this is who did it on this date, and then we have it on file. So we don't have to say, oh, we have this engineering and we sort through the engineering. And
Well, we're
Here,
working
this.
towards that.
Or my thing would be that you don't have to go find a case file for the review board.
Yeah, we're not
Septic.
doing that either. We have a database, Excel spreadsheet that we have antiquated notes in or non-verified notes.
Yeah,
And then as we've been going out, well, even when Mike was here, so Mike and I have been updating that and making new records for ourselves. So that's where.
I mean, to
we're at
make
now.
it easy, it could be just another number that says any inspections on lakefront properties on Lake Placid have to be recorded with the town.
Sure.
That is
Mhm,
that easy.
mhm.
Did you get your other question answered that you had?
On the engineer,
No, on the, who's responsible for payment if the engineering report was not carried out?
Oh,
That was page
you
2.
mean between the buyer and
Correct.
the seller?
So the responsibility was originally on the buyer.
This document asks us to accept an agreement between the two that is signed, that compliance will happen.
Okay.
So who does a fine go to if they aren't compliant? That's a good question. The realtor?
well, and I think the important party is an attorney, right? Because when we first talked about this, we said any attorney who's gonna read this and it closes in the winter is gonna hold a good amount in escrow to protect their buyer.
Right.
So I think it's also needs to go to attorneys.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Tim said that as
Yeah.
well.
So with that being said, that isn't addressed in this document.
What about where it's sent?
about compliance.
Oh, about who the fine goes to?
Yeah,
Well, you can't find someone who's already gone, so it has to
Right.
be it has to be the current owner.
right.
Unless there's an escrow, which,
They
as you
could pay,
pointed out.
they could pay from they could pay the fine
Right,
from the
yeah,
escrow,
right.
yeah.
Mhm.
And that is spelled out,
Mhm.
the escrow. So I guess,
Oh, it is?
yeah, I'm okay if escrow stays
Mhm.
until there's compliance.
Yep.
I'm trying to alleviate the problems for you guys.
So I'll say to Tim, we want to add the one other line about any inspection shall be recorded with the town.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so that's easy.
Building.
And then I'm good with the law.
Okay,
And I think should we thank Roby for bringing this?
No.
Well,
Just did.
in spite of what Emily's response was,
Yeah,
not that it's necessary, but has Roby seen a copy of this? 'Cause
Yes.
He's the one who initiated.
yeah,
it.
because I said no to the first draft.
he saw it two iterations ago and was fine with it, so we beefed it up more.
Oh, that makes- Right, that's good to know.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think that's, we got anything else? I think that's it for us.
thank you very much.
Okay. See you
Short and
later.
sweet.
Yeah.
Sorry, Haley, we stepped in front of you. Come on up.
I always go so early. I don't mind going later if other people can go early.
Oh, don't ever mention that. You'll be here.
So in no particular order, the comprehensive plan, the community profile is off with the DOS for review right now. And once they review that, they can review the draft plan, assuming it exists. And then we can send it to county for review, and then we can have the public hearings, and we can adopt it and be done.
And we're not under any deadline.
So Etsy, their contract ends on the 30th of June. So if we want them to make any changes to it, we would have to have those into them before that. Unless we wanted to extend the contract.
No, are we within the limits?
It seems like it's pretty tight right now. Etsy has not been super communicative the past few weeks. But they said they would have it done, at least have the edits done. We might have to switch, which we would have to do anyway.
You know if they'll be looking for a presentation at our June meeting?
So that's what I'm not sure about, because June
Yeah,
10th,
At 5 o'clock.
It was supposed to be June 10th and they've kind of not been.
I'd be very
benchmarks.
surprised, because we have to have everything reviewed by the state before, and then the county before we can, and accept, adopt it. as a
Okay.
Town, so I'd be surprised if that was gonna happen.
All right,
Yeah,
okay.
so that comp plan, the showgrounds plan is done. We're supposed to have one more meeting with them. But otherwise, that plan is just, we just have to.
Well,
adopt it.
Derek didn't answer the email, not that I did either.
Oh,
Derek,
I
yeah, I was.
I called him because, listen, I give you preference because,
I just remembered that was one thing that we didn't answer.
yeah,
So did you pick a time?
no, I said, I'll make it work whenever you can.
Oh, I thought you were answering something else in that.
You're the one that's always on negative time.
Okay. I don't remember what the times were. I'll look at it.
No problem.
But what, it's tomorrow, right?
Or
Maybe
Friday,
or next week,
or next week.
or tomorrow.
Wait, then the tomorrow was the most open though, right? It was like tomorrow before 4.
Yeah,
All right, so why don't we say tomorrow at 1?
I'll email it after this. And oh yeah, my next thing, Derek, can you sign this?
Yeah, but
It's the-
Thursday, 1 PM, what is it for?
SE group.
SE
The
group.
West
Master,
Showgrounds
yeah,
and
master
the
plan for the
athletic
showgrounds.
That'll be a Zoom, then somebody will send that.
Yeah, they'll send us.
It's just the income report for the CDBG account to show that we didn't make any money off of it.
We didn't do C.
It's like whatever we had in that account from the last year, so I think must have had a little bit in there, or used a little bit of it, I should say, last year. Thank you. And then I have drafted the pump track RFP that can go out whenever that gets okayed.
Can you remind me what our share of that is?
The state's covering, all of it, $150,000. We're just doing in-kind services for site clearing.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
I like that.
And that actually, speaking of that grant for the Adirondack Smart Growth, will be running again this year. So if the town has anything,
They're not gonna say yes if we haven't spent the money yet.
Michelle told me to apply. I
Okay,
met with her and she's like, you should apply. I'm like, we haven't even spent the money from the first round, but I don't know. Maybe she forgot about that.
Derek's got some tents to build, so.
Yeah.
A, no plural.
One tent.
And then otherwise, just a few little things. So Lori Fitzgerald sent out a notification to the Development Commission to let them know about the town and village's decision to sort of restructure that process, but the details haven't been worked out yet. And then,
Is there any negativity to that?
not
Negative
that I'm
feedback.
aware of, no, I haven't heard anything. I thought we were gonna have like one more meeting following that. I don't think we are, so I haven't seen anybody to have any feedback on that. Otherwise, I know the town's kind of removed from this, but I'm still kind of tangentially involved in it, is that childcare at First Steps did receive a gift.
Oh, yeah.
$10,000 through Rotary Foundation to put toward that program. Which was, they were very excited.
I want to ask you about an email we were forwarded on this art sponsorship through Fred
Oh,
Balzac.
yes, thank you, that was the other thing.
Now,
Yeah,
yes, it's nice we sponsor all this. We have a very finite circle of the people that are getting our sponsorship
mhm,
every year.
yeah,
Every
don't
time
know
we've
if-
done it, we ask Haley to put on social media and our website that
Okay,
we're open to sponsoring small re-grants for whatever that Red Balzac's program is.
yeah,
But I think Fred directs them directs them to us. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a pass through.
so, did everybody read that or no?
No.
But you sent it to everyone.
yeah, it's, I
Yeah.
sent it, sorry I didn't send it sooner.
It's straightforward. All it is a sponsorship that allows for up to a $5,000 grant. This
Yeah.
one's like 2,500 or whatever.
Yeah,
It's very similar to the ones years prior.
Yeah,
Yes, except for that, it's probably not, it doesn't say it's signage. I did look through it to make sure it wasn't signage. And my only question was that it says they're gonna have a DJ dance party is like one of the things, which,
It's not a little EDM, right? Fantastic.
so, but I just would like them to get the appropriate permits to have a DJ dance party at a John Brown
Yeah.
farm.
right.
So that was my concern when I read that application.
Sounds fun.
The thing is, there's,
Street.
Yeah,
I believe, a
something about
deadline.
that.
There is for the 14th of May, I believe, but they've already written the application, they just need us
Okay.
to be sponsors and we.
Anyone opposed to being a sponsorship? I mean, it's money and it should be utilized.
And it does sound like a good event for John Brown Farm, and it's not science.
Yeah,
I would just make sure that it goes on our Facebook page and our website that we're open to sponsorships. So
but
anyone else can reach out if they want.
can we do this at our June 10th and still be in time or no?
I think you could theoretically, I think it was the 14th of June, not May. I had to double check. but-
So policy wise is what I'm thinking, you know, we don't make decisions at these work sessions.
Can't vote here.
Yeah, so, okay, conceptually, how do we move it ahead without missing a deadline?
Well, we have generalized agreement, so.
And
And
I
if you
can
get the
double-check the
formal
deadline.
on June 10th,
Okay,
I'll double check the deadline. So it was originally May 14th and I think it got bumped back to June 14th, but I don't remember the.
okay. Could you give a quick update on where we're at with Lodge Road? Because I want the state to know we're on top of things, cause I don't wanna lose that.
Yeah, so, Rutler Kenny, sent out an email for the MWBE,
Yep.
these things, the acronyms and the STVOB. And, so they're on top of that. Shannon's keeping track of all the emails we get back. They've gotten some responses that I've seen. I'm CC'd on like some of those.
yeah, I apologize for
Oh,
putting you
fine.
on the
Um,
main line.
So, and I've been in touch with the DECD person there just to make sure we're like checking all the boxes. And she's fine with what we've done. so.
Good.
Yeah, it was a immediate, got 3 or 4 responses immediately. And I think I talked to Shannon today and there's been nothing.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's.
Oh, didn't you say a couple of them were marketers?
and yeah, some didn't understand, which I don't understand why they didn't understand because this is driven by them,
Yeah.
so.
All right,
Oh, and then the only other thing, the 2025 CFA, so consolidated funding application is like available now. So if the town has any projects, et cetera.
what's the pot?
It depends on which program you apply to. There's a bunch of different
Okay.
programs. If I can send that over if you want, but there depends on what program you apply to.
If you think anything at showgrounds or whatever.
Yeah.
Qualifies,
I'll look at it.
okay. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, and then it's repaving the road.
Right, district?
He said, "How are you?" Hello, hello?
All right, that should only be until about 8 o'clock.
I didn't even sign it.
Afternoon, everybody. Couple, actually variety of different topics. We'll start with Camp Placid numbers, and where we're at with that. Adrian caught up on what came in from the past couple of days. And we are pretty close to capacity at this point, and we still have more apps coming in every day. So by weeks, most of them are at 100 plus or at 105, and that does not include the 5 apps from Wilmington at this point.
Okay,
So easily are going to be at right now we're at 111, 112. So I think we could probably take 5 or 6 more, but that's about it.
based on our number of counselors.
If we
Correct.
get another counselor, we could take.
We could take,
So then do we want to
10 or so.
publicize that we're closing admissions and we can take 5 more, like in 1 week or whatever, and we can take 5 more campers?
we could put out,
I mean,
saying
just
that,
since I printed that, it's up to 129.
every
So we
day.
don't need to put anything
No,
out.
we don't.
Okay,
Other than it's closed.
yeah.
Yeah, other than if you haven't submitted now, and I guess the only,
On the application, it says.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so it's hard to say unless we want to put out a more broader message that says that,
No, let's
There's been a
close
lot
it
of
on June
excitement.
2nd.
Yep.
and there are in these numbers, there are 12 that still have not submitted the medical forms yet. So some of those could end up coming out if we don't actually get them in time either. So there is some flux that's kind of happening, but we're pretty much there. Yeah, every day they're coming in more, but we met with the school on Friday, and their staff had a really good meeting. We have a better understanding for what the oval schedule is for the summer, what the impact will be on Camp Placid, and alternate ideas, locations within the school for things to happen. So we have a good backup plan there, and we're still developing with the help of Orta. I think particularly the Wednesdays with the addition of the Lake Placid Farmers Market. The hours are not great for us, 9 to 1. It would, if it were something more like a 10 to 2, that would have been better for us. But so we're working with Orta folks about bringing in different NGBs each week to come in and kind of fill some of that time, doing a show and tell on luge or skeleton, bobsleds, different things, so that kids can meet some of the athletes and kind of hear what, kind of what their sport is about. So trying to get some introduction to that. So working through some of those challenges, but so far the calendar is filling up with a variety of activities and stuff for the campers. And we're waiting from Tim, contact with Nikki Corson on transportation. He's going to take the lead in making that first connection, because we do have more programming than we've had in the past. So we're going to be a little bit heavier reliance on transportation, but so that's all kind of in the works. We are going to put in a cannabis funds request, so it'll be coming to Emily and Dick for that. hoping for some funding that's not currently in the budget for some of these extracurricular activities for the campers.
I don't, if we want to take a second to talk about process, I don't think they actually need to make a cannabis application. I think we need to decide as a board that we're gonna allocate cannabis funding to fill that funding gap.
Okay.
So just come to us with your budget adjustment and we'll decide where that money comes from.
So do you want to do it? It's hard to know. We may not get pricing on some things because they're not until the end of July or August. And so I'm wondering if it wouldn't make more sense to just say we have X number, if we have $4,000 or $5,000 that we work to stay within that, and anything that's left at the end goes back. Is that possible?
Yeah, I think that's fair, unless you have something else.
No, other than the fact that you can do it rolling. I mean,
Yeah.
you have the June meeting, July meeting, August meeting.
Yeah, you
Right,
could do
you could-
multiple asks.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Just-
if that's
I mean,
okay with.
Sure.
with
We'll
everybody.
use it.
Yeah,
And I still have to find out where our,
We're missing some cannabis funding.
Yes.
you're right, yeah.
because I know they're still using it.
We know that.
Some of it's still open.
So a lot of the leftover equipment from previous years has been shifted around to different locations. It ended up in the Farrier building. Adrian and I are probably gonna have to spend probably a full day next week going through that has been intermixed now with a variety of other things that were not Camp Placid related. Sorting that out is gonna take a bit to do.
Okay,
But one of the things that we haven't been able to find anywhere are the camp radios. So counselors to the director,
Yeah.
they have radios, and we also use radios at the beach, and we have found none so far. 0. They're all gone.
Have you asked Matt?
I have.
And he does not remember where they are.
He said they were in the Camp Placid stuff, and they're out at the beach in the room in there.
That's a very expensive piece of equipment to be missing.
I don't know that they are. I think they were more of like the walkie-talkie.
And not like a
signal
high-end.
chips. They weren't a high-end type thing because your range is just vicinity,
Immediate.
so. Yeah, so I think it's gonna probably cost $200, maybe $300 to replace those. We had heard from some of the camp counselors and folks that they were not the best quality to begin with, and they found them hard to utilize, so I'm hoping that we can get something that's reasonably priced, but also.
I request that you upgrade enough that you have a radio on you and you can,
Sure.
you always are able to hear their communications.
Yeah.
And that way
Yeah.
there's someone else listening.
Yeah.
to what they're talking about.
Yeah,
You have all that time.
what's that?
You have all that time to.
No, I mean, I think, I'm given the proximity of town hall now to Camp
Right.
Placid operating here, we
Maybe.
should be able to
Or
have,
would be
right,
a
with the right
stretch.
showgrounds, I don't think that would work there, that would have to be a much higher end radio, but
Get your hand
to go that far, right, then I would need a ham, or they could do smoke signals. So we don't want fire.
Restaurant or?
So I think I think that covered Camp Placid unless. Okay,
I think so. Oh, Diane did start going
Oh,
through
yeah.
all the Vax records today, so she's been up there all day. Going through
Yeah.
everything,
so far, okay,
couple little things. but
That's
called compliance.
It's called compliance.
that is called compliance, also maintaining an accurate number of.
her.
She's thorough.
She is
Extremely thorough.
Yeah,
by the.
that's great.
So
A
that's.
welcome addition.
So next would switch to Craigwood. So wanted to either alert, I don't know if this is necessarily an ask or if this needs to go to the regular board meeting. So we don't have it clearly defined on the site what a high school student gets as for their $10 fee. Whether it's 18, is it a full 18 or is it just a 9-hole rate? And how far does that extend? Is it all of Essex? Is it just Lake Placid? Is it Lake Placid, Saranac, Keene Valley, Jay? Like, what's our geography for that? And so that has come up, especially now because we are hosting sectionals. And so we've had more athletes out there, more high school students golfing. The quality and the look of the course right now is stellar. And so I think a lot of the kids are like, hey, I'm gonna come out and do this a little bit more. It's only gonna cost me $10. So
Well, listen,
we haven't defined that.
when you talk about, the base of any program is the youth. So certainly, if I would say honor any of this area's schools.
Are they bringing high school IDs? I mean,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do we want to go as far away as Peru or Ticonderoga? They're in the section,
Listen,
but
they have to travel here for the day, so listen, they gotta buy lunch and the whole, let's treat the kids,
It's an hour drive, so yeah.
yeah.
So right now it just says $10 for a high school student with no parameters.
with no parameters at all.
Give them 18 just for the golf, we can't give
They have
cards.
to pay
No,
for the cards.
no, they would have to pay for cars because that's a hard cost.
So
So
they'd need a parent.
depending if they were 18, if they were a
Yeah.
high school student.
So the greens fees,
Okay, so 18.
yeah.
And so do we want to say all of Essex?
Yeah,
I feel like
but-
we have to have
But
some.
Saranac Lake
parameter
students
on
are
it.
in Franklin County.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that's
that's
why,
true too.
and then
And
there's
then-
also Clinton County.
Yeah, and Clinton. Yeah.
I think you could do Tri-County, Essex, Clinton, Franklin,
That's
because it's
true.
gonna cover our most closest geographies.
And obviously you can track this, because if it becomes.
Correct.
We're
A big
opening
number.
floodgate.
Right, yeah, right. If it opens the floodgates, then we can reassess at the end of the year. I mean,
That's a good
this
problem
year.
to have.
It is, and then this isn't, because of how we're tracking now in the system, we can see all of that.
And you have to have tea times anyway,
Correct.
yeah, so.
Yep. Okay, so we'll do Tri-County. Okay. And then the other one, again, I don't know if this needs to go to full board or not, but I'd like to place a January or June 30th deadline on buying memberships. So currently it's wide open all year round, and through our whole process, I think you all
Identify the
have
problem.
identified the problem there.
Mhm.
And so I think if we could say June 30th, that will alleviate some of that, but it also, it gives us, we have a window now to say we have, we're gonna close in a month. So, we're coming up on June 1st here. So,
You mean put it on the website?
yeah,
Yeah.
put it out there that we're closing memberships at the end of the month.
And that's fair business too.
I guess my only other would be, what's Eric's thoughts on that? Does he,
That's his.
Okay,
yeah,
then I'm
part of
fine
the
with that.
What's the
conversation.
benefit of closing memberships?
because people then pay greens fees instead of buying a membership, and it's more expensive to golf 3 times paying greens fees than to buy a
To
membership.
encourage them to buy memberships.
Right,
obviously.
and
Well,
No.
no, to encourage them to pay greens
Opposite.
fees,
yeah, and because.
unless they really are legitimate members who live here and are
Right,
playing
when
often.
that's,
and-
right, and that's,
Okay.
to Emily's point, that's the issue, right? And so so the folks that are local that want memberships should have no problem by June 30th getting their membership, and utilizing that through by June 30th.
Even Dick's off vacation by then.
Yeah, right, like even the people that,
In
right,
theory.
right, and folks that are seasonal that come and live in the North Country certainly are here typically by June 30th too.
And we will be addressing this next year. We'll have a tiered system.
Correct.
And yeah.
So this is,
reasonable rate.
right, so this is what we're doing this year to kind of mitigate.
Precursor.
What's one more than the-
Do you want to do it in coordination with the club? Or it's not here for golf now?
I'll talk about golf. So little update on athletic fields. So we have lined the fields now. We have just a little bit left to do on 2 of the little kids' fields for the soccer tournament this weekend. And I also wanted to ask, I think this is the first time, certainly since the fields have been redone, that we've had soccer, but I'm not even sure when the last time we had something related to soccer at the athletic fields. Seeing that everybody in town calls them the lacrosse fields.
Yeah.
So that's a win. Obviously, multi-use of the field is better for the field, its compaction and its goal mouth areas. One of the things that we need to do next week, and I mentioned this to Derek, but good for everyone to know, is that with the change in our contracts with some groups that had maintained the fields for us previously, are not being carried into the summer. So we've had to shift quicker to Trent's plan for maintenance of the fields and fertilization and so on and so forth. And so those things need to happen in conjunction with Craigwood, because they're currently the holder of all of the turf field equipment. And so we'll have to come up with a share process so that we can get spreaders and sprayers and deep tiners and things like that to be used over at the athletic field. That's just a little bit quicker than we anticipated. I think there's a good sharing that can happen there, but I do think that we're gonna have to look at some equipment and purchasing some that we can have there that we will need to use on a more regular basis, where just going back and forth all the time is just gonna prove to be a challenge. So Trent's working on kind of that list, but I think we need to have that meeting with Willis next week early because we're already late at the first fertilization stage, and the fields have held up well given the amount of rain that we've had, but they're gonna get stressed here pretty quick. So it's something we need to talk about pretty quickly next week. Also related to the athletic fields, so the organization that Derek and I have been talking to about coming for the winter venue rental of the parking lots I've had a lot of meetings with Orta talking about snowmaking equipment, the ability to make snow in the parking lot areas. The company actually wants to come and be on site on Monday. So they're flying out from California on Sunday and would like to meet with Derek, myself, and I'm hoping maybe the one of two is also kind of the board representation to Park District could be there. It's going to be an early morning though, probably 7 a.m.
Either of you going to AATV? Okay,
And we're both conveniently up at, well, he's up at 5, at 6.
yeah.
Yeah, so because we want to make sure to accommodate Derek to be there. But there, so I think it sounds like Vermont is off the table. So now it's down to New Hampshire and us.
Did he already talk? So you guys know who we're talking about?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Michelin?
Yeah.
Michelin Tire? They want.
Well, that was supposed to be embargoed, but
Yeah, yeah.
Is BF Goodrich part of Michigan? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I did, without getting into it too much, spoke with Kenny, and he's of the understanding that we could run water in the winter. He said it's deep enough out there.
yeah, yep.
So.
Yeah, we talked to
snowmaking.
Brad and we talked to Brad and his feeling was the same. The issue is that we really can't get equipment from Orta and the jumping complex. I mean, we'd never be able to get equipment out of Whiteface because they
No.
run snow so much longer than the jumping complex does until after aerials, which is the first week in January. So they could give us, they have, even Whiteface have hundreds of Ratnicks available, but the cost to operate the compressors that are needed to do that, I think is that would be too exorbitant of a cost even for them to take in.
They'll need to do ice first and then they can do snow.
Well, it sounded like Richard softened on his stance when I talked to him this afternoon about this. Well, we have to have it. And I just said, they're a business. So they're going to take care of themselves before they agree to do anything for anybody else, as they should. So you'd have to be in line. And so then he was like, so what are the chances that you would just have not cold enough temperatures and no snow in January? And I'm like, and by January, it's pretty low. I mean, it would have to be a pretty warm winter for us to not have snow in January.
It's happened, but it's.
Right, but it's right, but we're on a scale of 1 to 10, we're probably at like a 2 or a 3
Low
versus,
probability,
yeah,
sure.
the low probability.
And New Hampshire's in the same pattern, so.
It is, yeah. And I don't know what elevation he's working at there, so it could be worse.
What is this for? Yes.
So they are looking for, they lost their site, their testing ground, so they bring in all of their
When you say
reps.
A,
Michelin.
Michelin.
Right, I'm just trying not to say that word.
Oh.
You did,
Because it's,
you haven't said it.
Okay.
I haven't said it.
Tire people?
Tire people
Okay.
would like to come in, they set up a track, they set up a track, ice and snow.
Okay.
And they bring in the 14 dealers every 2 to 3 days to test tires on the track so that their salespeople know what the capabilities are for the tires they're selling.
And this is an event that you're bringing in, or is Order bringing in?
No, this would
3
be
months
us.
lease.
3 months.
It's a 3-month lease. Yeah, a 3-month lease, 3 to 4 year deal where they would come out, set up a course and then bring in folks to test tires and do all of those types of things. And So there, I mean, a lot of benefit to the area, and part of the attraction then for Orta is the potential that they're also a USOPC IOC sponsor. And so there could be some they're a French-based company. So European winter sports is from a sponsorship standpoint, a high prized thing to get television rights in Europe. So having a French company be able to have some television rights to winter sporting events here, particularly next year in a winter winter Olympic year, pretty big. So there could be a lot of benefit to the whole town as a whole for them to be here. So it would be Monday at 7 if either of you could be.
If you aren't interested, I'm there.
We're just gonna meet at probably right at.
I'll either go there or I'll feed your kids.
Bike him to school.
No, I was gonna say they'll be riding bikes to school.
Where is that?
We're gonna be right at the athletic fields.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've already put him in touch with Roost about hotel accommodations and stuff like that, because all their dealers coming in would need places to stay, and I'm not making those decisions. We'll let them discuss that. Okay, and is it possible, I can ask you this later, it doesn't need to be here. It's a separate question. So then I think the next one that I had brought up at the last board meeting was the discussion on comp policy.
Mhm.
So in that, it didn't, so I wanted to advocate for there to be some form of policy for contracted employees, because the policy itself was directed solely at hourly employees. So all the places that I've worked at previously have had a managerial discretion on for salaried employees to have some benefit. In all of the cases that have happened, it's never been a one-to-one exchange. It's always been at manager's discretion based on the request and the time of year and the amount of accrued time the person would have. And that's always been managed, at least in my case, has always been managed by the manager. So they know, because they're signing timesheets, they know who's working hours that are what I would consider to say above and beyond what you would expect a salaried employee to do. Nobody expects that they're just working an 8 to 5 if they've got to put extra time in, but we're talking about excessive time or holiday time or something along those lines. So I just wanted to advocate for an adjustment to that policy that would allow there to be some managerial discretion on that for salaried employees.
I'm looking into labor law on that.
Yeah.
And I know for municipalities, it's different than others, so, but.
And right, and all the
once I
time,
get that answer.
yeah, and I think, I mean, all the times. Well, I can't say all the times, all but one of those times I've worked at private companies that have had that policy, but there is one that on the state side that has done that.
I just, what I fear is, and I know it's managerial discretion. But, well, you gave me the scenario.
Yeah.
I'm taking the next 3 months off because I,
Right.
Work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day during the winter.
Right, and I think, I think there's reason and then there's punitive, right? Like saying, I'm just gonna go in and say, oh, well, I'm just gonna collect on that, and I've worked an extra 500 hours this year, so I'm taking 3 more months off, is that, I mean,
Right.
that's crazy, and I think there would have to be some. I would advocate for the guardrails on it that would prevent that from occurring. But to say, because I worked a 12-hour day on Monday, painting fields to get them ready for this coming weekend on a holiday. It'd be great if I could get a couple hours at like some Friday in the fall where we didn't have something going on. I could go to Derek and say, hey, you remember when I did that Memorial Day thing? Is there any chance I could just leave an hour or two early today? Because I've got to do something.
I wouldn't mind a further situational meeting on this topic.
Yeah.
Because, we have plans for, not changing, but re-describing job expectations across the board, so we could test each other out on different situations, so that I don't want to leave Jeremy on his own where he's the fall guy for different compensation patterns.
Right.
but you also can't write it down in concrete. That's where discretion comes in. So,
Sure.
you know, like if you meet with the liaisons and, I'm fine with whatever you come up with.
So I'm hearing, Jeremy, you don't want it, you want it to be restricted enough to alleviate some major issues, but you don't want it to be overly restrictive so that it kind of.
It's just zero.
It's punitive to someone who like, it would be beneficial for those employees.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I just don't want it to be, because then the response is, well, I'm putting in so much time now, you're not really helping me out, I'm doing what I would consider to be above and beyond from a manager perspective. You know, do I expect somebody to come in if you have to stay an extra hour to get XYZ done? Yeah, you gotta do that. Is that comp time? No.
So we can do this offline and then bring it.
So then my last one is, sorry, I didn't say 8 o'clock, but I'll get done before that
This is
is,
close.
close, we're working on. So I've brought this up a couple of times in other board meetings about how the board may or give me permission to be able to engage more with the community to let them know kind of what we're doing, why we're doing what it is that we're doing. I don't mind having, I'll just say, a target on my back for putting policies in place that are intended to put some guardrails and be better fiscally responsible to the budget and the taxpayer. And in doing that, though, that is a change in historically how things have been done. And that is increasingly making it more and more difficult, because what we're getting drowned out by is the naysayers. We're always going to have people that are not happy. I understand that we're not going to please everybody. But I think that if we could have a voice that lets people know why it is that we're doing the things that we're doing, and we're not doing it to be punitive, we're doing it to ensure that we're having good fiscal responsible practices that benefit the taxpayer. And in the long run, it does increase access and or availability, because better management of budgets means that we have better dollars available to do new projects or new initiatives or new things. I just feel like the town doesn't have a communications manager or a communications practice that kind of gets out those types of things or having those conversations. So I would like to find a way to be able to do that.
Yeah,
And
the ideas of like what formats that would happen in.
well, I mean, certainly, Grace comes to the board meetings, and she actually, oddly enough, right before I came down here at 3:15, she asked for a meeting to talk about the improvements at the showgrounds, which is good, but that's also happening not really at the park district level. That's actually through the private entity that we have the lease agreement with. So yes, I could speak a little bit about it, but am I really working day to day with that construction company on what's happening to each of the rings or the infrastructure that's going on around that? I don't. They do.
Are you looking for a space on the website for more of a sort of an, I wouldn't say blog, but more of an ongoing narrative where you would communicate?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we're in this phase of change where I think it's once people understand what it is that we're actually changing and why we're changing it and the benefits of changing it, just needs to be out there. It just needs to be targeted.
Newspaper.
It could be a newspaper article, it could be a Facebook post, it could be.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I guess, though, are you just asking for permission? I guess I'm a little confused.
Well, yeah, it's who's the voice? Is it from the board? Is it from me? Is it from me to the board and then can be disseminated out? I'm just
I think the
looking
park
for,
district is its own entity,
yeah.
so.
Because I don't feel empowered to call up Grace and say, hey, want to come on over and let's have a conversation about what's happening at Craigwood and what we're doing, and or come on over and let's talk about what's happening at the athletic fields. We have the soccer tournament this weekend. We haven't had one there likely in decades. That's a big story and that's good for the field. It's bringing 41 teams here that have not otherwise been here.
I guess maybe, well, I hate to hear when you say you don't feel empowered. I guess there's never been a request like that.
And this
So
is
it's
all
like, I don't want you to
brand
feel like you're non-powered, but like, we
Well-
never really fielded a request from.
Well, we
I did.
ran things through Haley.
Yeah, I had two comments. One was that Haley, I shouldn't say Haley, but her position, probably a quarter of her time is supposed to be allocated to communications.
Okay.
And so if you feel like you need any assistance, her office is there to
Okay.
like draft press releases or, you know, however you want to utilize her
Sure.
office. And then my other request was that if you did meet with the press and do something like that, I would just ask that one board member always be there. with
Sure.
you. So there's some electable accountability.
Yeah, yeah.
That's there.
Of course.
That was my, but otherwise, I think I don't have any issues with you reaching out and representing the Park District.
Part of me, my recommendation would be if like you have a sort of an objective, and certain notes you want to hit.
Yeah.
And then if you wanted to articulate them to the board, not that it's, we want to like, you know, have the final stamp of approval, we just want to ensure that, you know, it passes through the checks that like we're getting to
Right.
that point where we can make
Yeah.
those decisions. I think it'd be more powerful if it was your voice
Mhm.
personally. And it creates a narrative that other people can start to, like a story that people can start buying into. Because what you're doing is significant and impactful. And I feel bad that, you know, a lot of the changes creates a lot of friction, but at the same time, your side hasn't really been communicated.
The liaisons, it has been, he's been
Well, I mean, to
Keeping
the
us-
greater public.
right,
and then
creating-
you-
keeping us up to
member.
date. I
But
think
like,
it's-
this is the biggest crowd we've had for a workshop session. And I think it might match the.
Other than Leaf, regular.
Yeah, we've brought everyone in, but aside from that, and this is like C-SPAN. I don't know
Right.
anyone's really dropping in to hear
Right,
this, so it's like one of those,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, you develop a story.
But it's a great movement forward.
Yeah, I just,
Especially when you touch on aspects like we are now gonna be more efficient in chemicals and pesticides and
Yeah.
taking care of all of Park District. We'll have 2 people that have chemical licenses now. We've identified new revenue sources.
Soccer,
There-
like new things, like just all
Right.
of this.
Yeah,
Camp Placid and how it's been reimagined and
right.
all these different sort of educational experiences they're gonna go.
Right, because I think, right, each of those could be like literally great, we could do an article or an interview
On
or
each
something
aspect.
once on each aspect, once a month, just to have something out there so that people understand what it is that we're doing, instead of just a lot of the word of mouth.
Sure.
rather than just accepting the fact that we've gone through a lot of change.
Yeah.
Getting the awareness out there is big.
Yeah.
So
It's a great idea.
I don't think the paper is absolutely necessary, but if you have like a guest commentary that like a periodic
Right.
one over the summer, just letting people know, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it could even just be an editorial. It doesn't even
Yeah.
necessarily have to be an interview. It could just be like, this is what's happening and we can do an update to the community.
Yeah.
That could just be, I mean, that could go out in a lot of different channels. So
I think that's.
I'll talk to Haley about it too, and that's great. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. My last thing is, as I literally put my papers in my folder.
I've got a
Um,
list of questions, so don't
okay.
say it's.
We did have some vandalism that was kind of caught in progress out at the athletic fields this last week. So we had somebody in a truck doing donuts in the parking lot, and then
Kids these days.
they drove across the beach volleyball courts and did a donut in the sand on the beach volleyball courts. They didn't take out the nets. And we actually, by the grace, we got there right when they were about to go out onto the athletic fields.
So was this during the day?
Yes, it was in
Early morning.
early morning. And so they obviously saw one of our people coming up the athletic fields, and so they took off. And that could have been, I mean, that could have
Yeah.
killed the summer right there.
That's
Their
what
entire-
damaged all the fields in Keene at the airport, right? They never found out who did that.
Yeah, so
People still awake, or do they just get up early for this particular thing?
they get up early for this.
But Kenny
So-
responded.
So, yeah, so I worked with Ken and we had boulders put in place in strategic places to keep people from getting out onto the fields and or back onto beach volleyball courts.
Cause you couldn't get to the fields unless you went through beach volleyball.
Well, you could go right along the fence line. It's open. That fence line doesn't go to the woods. So there is an
Yeah,
opening there.
look out.
There is a gap there in the fencing. So there is not now.
Even if you
there is
close the
boulders there.
pickleball gate, they could still get in.
Yeah, they can go right around the pickleball courts.
So I
Yeah,
went up there
there's-
with Finn.
Well, no, there's
She's
a
the kids
pickleball
away,
cage.
Finn and no one
That's-
does. You can just walk around the fence.
Yeah, the
You know-
gate that people go into the pickleball courts. And
Oh, right.
if you close
Oh,
that,
if we close that, they wouldn't be able to get in.
I've always
but-
advocated for that.
Yeah.
If people aren't gonna walk 100 feet to pickleball or volleyball,
That's
then
Dick's goddamn parking
God.
lot. I would- Parking lot.
We have boulders.
This is all
in-
Dick's fault. You heard it here.
We strategically placed boulders, so, and which is fine, I mean, there's erratics everywhere, and it looks
Yeah.
fine. I mean, it will keep people from doing that.
Do we get a license plate? And
No, but we've identified the vehicle, so we know who did it. So we have camera system going in out there by the end of June.
Is
So-
that, this is confirmed?
Derek, did you
Derek.
hire the person to do that? The one
It's
that does the
confirmed,
pickleball?
all right.
Yeah, it's been
Put it
confirmed
this
and
way.
conveyed.
The cameras will be up or he's sacrificing 40 to 50 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed at the lacrosse fields is lacking a little bit of like rule signage.
Yep, yeah, I've talked to Trent about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just because there was dogs on it yesterday, that really annoyed me.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Emily's
And I
very
think
passionate
anybody
about
that,
fields,
right,
great
anybody,
fields.
any athletic field, people running around with a soccer ball or running and playing lacrosse out there and scooping up a ball has rolling through dog food. It's not, it's not good.
Our little leaguers.
But I looked around and I was like, I don't see any signage, so I.
Yeah, and there hasn't been any, so.
The only
so Trent's-
animals that don't listen are the geese.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that too. So yeah, so that's on Trent's list to get some signage for that. We've also had some issues with, with some of the high school teams and modified teams using the incorrect fields. And so I have a meeting with Jeff next week to work on correcting that for next year. And we also are gonna get some signs made that we can put onto the fields that says field under repair, do not use, so we can put them appropriately when a field needs to have not somebody playing on it.
Yeah.
Because field 6 right now is damaged quite a bit. It's gonna take some time and it's gonna cost us some money to repair it. But that was from overuse when we requested it not to be used and it was still used. I still haven't come up with a way yet to be able to appropriately, and this is where I'm hoping the signs will help in this, is that we don't close the field. We don't lock the fields, that nobody from the community in the evening could go out and fly a kite. So it's a big open space. Like, that's great. I would want people to be able to do that. And we have people that go out to just pick up soccer or pick up lacrosse. We just got to make sure that they're using appropriate fields and not using ones that need to rest. And so, so we just have to work on some signage. We are going to have to do a little bit of work on, there are people that we haven't identified yet who have keys to locks. And I want to try to identify them so we can either get the keys back or we're just gonna have to relock, rekey or re-padlock some of those venues, because we lock them at night and we come back in the morning and they're wide open. So people are getting out there that have keys that shouldn't have keys to be able to unlock those doors. And that worries me, because if they've done it at night, then that field is open to the parking lot and our donut person then has access.
So why don't we just rekey everything right now?
Yeah.
Well, we can do that. It has also then proven to be a challenge when we've done that at other places, because then the people come in and they're very much angry that I've been given.
You know, it's a
permission
really
for
great
these
way
things.
for you to like get to know everyone.
Yes. Yes, through anger. Yes, through anger.
Emily told me to do this.
Yeah,
But then Jared be like, who are you? Why did you have a key?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
yeah, yeah. So
We get you a t-shirt. with our
certainly-
novel logo.
we certainly can do that. I was trying the softer approach of trying to have a conversation with somebody about, like, why do you have a key? Why do you need to?
But
have
do you
a key?
really think they're gonna give you the key back?
Oh, when I say I need to have
After
a
they
key
make
back. Yeah, yeah, right, take it from them.
And they've already made a copy.
Yeah. And that is.
I mean, if
Oh,
you
that
want,
might be-
that might be
if
the-
you wanted to try the soft approach, I just think there's probably a ton. I think there's probably keys out there that you don't know about. You can't have the conversation. And yes, that might lead to some headaches where someone comes, but they're gonna call here or call you, and then you're gonna find out who they are and why they had a key.
Yeah.
Happy to take that route.
If your job wasn't that easy.
So you had questions?
For the sake of time and
Thank you, Rick.
Not yours,
Oh,
these
sorry.
people.
Yeah.
Well, they chose to be here. So they did too, but it's like-
Wow. No, I'll get in touch with you.
Okay,
Thanks.
all right.
Good
Awesome.
report.
Thanks,
I have one quick thing, was just, Eric, is Eric gonna publicize the junior golf soon?
I haven't asked him if
Okay.
when he was doing that. I can.
Because I think he was supposed to start. Oh, wait, no, he has like
He
3
wants
months.
to wait for
Right.
rules out.
Right.
Yes, but he's got, if he wants people to make summer plans, he should probably get it out sooner than later.
Yeah,
And he told me his goal was Memorial Day weekend, so. If you can just ask him. where he
Yep.
stands.
Okay. Will do.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Sorry to
you.
make everybody wait so long, but we have a lot of venues in Park District.
Yeah. If you see activity around here on Saturday, I am letting all the lifeguards know we're doing their training.
Perfect. Thank you.
So I will be here.
We didn't
Thank
even
you.
talk about beach. Everything's going well there.
We have all the, we have
It's
all
not
the
open.
lifeguards we need.
We have all the
We
lifeguards.
have all the lifeguards.
So.
We're opening early.
June
Whoa.
14th. June
Yeah,
14th.
I know.
Couple of things on highway, just
Yes.
so, because I will run out of time.
yeah, go ahead.
Ken's unable to make it, so they had a couple of questions, he and Shannon. One is, and I wish Jeremy were still here, but we visit this every year, is garbage. Are we going to provide garbage for all the events out at the fields?
Oh, that's been a publication every year.
Right,
Every-
or it's costing Shannon and Park District and landfill a lot of money because of the overtime, tipping fees, so on and so forth.
So
So
it's either
something
in their
for,
contract or not in their contract.
it's one of those, some have it in their contract, others don't. And there are so many outside entities now, we're starting to compete with all the private sectors. It used to be just Casellas, but anyhow, some food for thought. The other is forming a cemetery committee.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I talked about appearance. Let's go with cemetery. Remember,
Okay.
maybe you weren't at the board meeting. I asked Ken if he wanted some guidance. He said, sure. And then I walked back what I said.
So I have identified two individuals through just approaching me who would like to be involved. No.
Okay.
But Shannon's already started the process of pricing out different fences, just so we can get an idea of what
Okay.
to look at. And then if it's not fences,
combination or whatever.
correct.
Okay,
Is Dick gonna get worked into the fence
No,
conversation?
we're leaving Dick out of it.
Oh, okay. I don't want to be part of that.
He was 200 feet and below, this is 600 feet. of
Fair enough.
fencing, so-
That's fair.
I'm gonna leave it to your discretion that people that want to be involved on this committee are actually beneficial and not gonna hold this
Oh,
up for
yeah.
6 months.
Because we've got to get going on that.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
good. All right, let's move into the open discussion part of this meeting. Our first item on is discussion of the peaks with recent information that's come to us. I don't know if I'll call it concerns or really just to describe where plans to proceed with the peaks is going, and I think I'm gonna rely on both you, Rick, and Emily. You're even more up to date than I am because I left just prior to Joe coming here and addressing you. I did watch that, so I'm up to date, but probably not fully. So I don't know who wants to give the summary.
Emily talks fast than I do.
I don't know if I have a summary. I mean, so
Yeah,
he gave us the proposal that outlined why he was having trouble with financing and getting the project off the ground. And, really tied it all back to the 10% affordable units. And I have a different feelings about that, but the other part he tied it back to was the rental cap of at 150% of AMI. And so he was looking for relief from probably both of those items, but he's also changing the actual like the what is it called?
Scope of work.
Well, what you're offering in 10 years, so different products. So if he's the deed restriction and and there's some discrepancy in what the contract and the deed descriptions say. But the contract says that 66% of the parcel has to be rental. And so he's also changing that scope because he's going to 112 units of apartments and then everything else is for sale. So it's more like a 50-50 split now.
And to date, we haven't addressed that fact with him, right?
No,
Okay,
and he didn't address that fact in the letter. He talked about how he was changing what he was offering to make it like a more diversified portfolio. So there was condominiums, townhomes, and then the apartments. But he is supposed to have 66% of the rental of the units as rentals that are limited to 150% of AMI. And the other part of his what he was proposing to us was that he would pay $1,000 per new unit, which was 274, which was $274,000. And I just think that's not reasonable. And if you run the numbers from current, from section 5.6.2, which it is true that he doesn't have to abide to, because the plan development district that gave him the creation of that PD explicitly says not required to meet 5.6.2, because we came to a separate agreement with him. If you did the math, like just for theoretically did the math to come up with the payment is closer to 3.5 million. So 274 to 3.5 million is a big jump. That's my take.
Yeah, it's.
And I would say that we wait for Joe to come back to us. So we wait for, like, if we want to communicate to him, like, we don't accept what you're offering, but I don't think we're in a position, we ever want to be in a position where we're counter offering a developer on his deed restrictions.
so the question came up whether, regardless of hamlet status, if a change in the project, the total number of units, needs review from APA for a major change in that project. Along with that, I hate to say I don't understand, or does planning commission or joint review board understand that what we're talking about is a separate deed restriction with Joe? And does it play into planning departments moving forward with decisions? That, there's a separation of powers, but we dictate those deed restrictions.
I mean, Rick, feel free to jump in, but the Darcy and Tim Smith made it sound like if it's less units and still within the general scope of a residential development, then it doesn't have to come back to the review board. Because the only thing he's asking for a change from is the deed restrictions. So it was Tim and Darcy's opinion, it didn't have to go back to the review board.
Okay,
No change in height, no change in design.
That, the question was, we know what the number is of the affordable units. Everything was gonna stay the same, they were gonna change to the townhomes. That's up for our approval. That's a significant change to the project. But we wanted to defer to the board, in terms of what we knew he was gonna be asking for in terms of affordable units. And again, we can't get involved in that, it's a civil matter now. So there was some questions, that's why I deferred.
okay.
But you were are of the understanding that it does have to come back to the review board?
It's a significant change in the project, and I would think so, yeah.
But do you have a different opinion?
I don't have
An
an
opinion,
opinion.
but different, you heard something
I
different,
heard
and I heard
that
something
they do
different.
not have to go back, but that was
Since they heard
third hand.
something different, I heard something different too.
Yeah, so,
Well, let's all get together and figure.
yes.
And then, I know you can't represent the APA, but, we talked a little bit and, I told Derek a little bit about our conversation, just what would trigger the APA to bring it back into their review. And then also just not a staff review, but a board level review. Can you speak to that a little bit? And
So when the park agency issued the permit, it was pretty clear there was a certain number of units. I think it was
355.
355. And then to trigger full board review, there were three specific provisions, one having to do with if the project didn't sell a lot within 5 years, if it didn't substantially commence within 5 years, or if there was a material, typically in APA permits, if there's a material change, if it's a lot reduction, that does not trigger material change. But if you change the footprints of the original plan, so footprints of the buildings, or you change the design or the characteristics, I would say like, for example, the Cell Science Center building, that if that building changed, then there could be a visual impact issue, which clearly would trigger
Board level.
another review. And so that's been a question I think the whole community's had is, are you restoring or renovating the existing Cell Science Center, or are you demolishing it and then putting up 90 new units in its place? Then to me, that would be a material change and that would trigger review because of the visual impact. And then Emily's right, I can't speak for the board, I can't speak for the agency, but I'm just trying to give you a perspective of how other projects have been reviewed if they've made substantial changes to them.
But two of the conditions were about the 5 years, because it's been 5 years. When did they, do you remember when the agency issued the permit? But it must have been 2020.
The infrastructure for one whole phase has been put in.
No, I'm talking about
This
sold a
was
lot,
April, it
Right.
was issued April 19, 2021.
so we're not there yet. Okay. But there could be other reasons to trigger review.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but when I heard that the review board or that there was no changes. But just looking at a cursory look at his new plan, the buildings don't look the same the way they were presented to the park agency.
Yeah,
They're not,
it's substantially different.
huh?
And I've only seen it as sort of a cursory kind of review of
Yeah.
the meeting I have with planning.
We don't have copies of that.
Yeah,
But
I've
not-
got a bunch of stuff in
I
there.
wanna comment personally, though. I feel that this board was very thoughtfully aggressive in asking the park agency for a change in classification from moderate intensity to hamlet. And I think the intuition or the thought behind the board doing that was because this was thought of as a housing for athletes for World University Games, and Joe was going to be the hero that saved the day, that was gonna do thoughtful development that the community was crying for affordable housing, and it was gonna be a perfect fit because you took athlete housing, you converted it into affordable housing. And then that, I think, put some pressure on the park agency to be supportive of Lake Placid's movement to get World University Games and put on a good event. And so I think that certainly helped the process in getting that classification, because everyone knew that the reason we were changing it from moderate intensity to hamlet is because we knew the town had a developer who had an option to do this thoughtful plan. So I feel like the town also did a very thoughtful agreement, knowing that if it didn't happen, that the housing for the athletes didn't happen, that the community would be protected by having this agreement that was pretty clear that you had a certain amount of units that were for rent at reasonable rates. And I'm not saying it was ever low income housing.
Right.
I think this was really, and Joe approached me saying, wouldn't your managers love a great place to rent? And nurses and new doctors and I think that was kind of our vision, that this was going to be a mixed use development. There would be a component of some affordable housing at that 10% of the development plan. But then, you know, a majority was going to be for rent, for people trying to come to the community, have a place to live for 1 year, 2 years, so that they could save enough money to buy their own home eventually. So that's, I just would encourage the board to look back at your agreements and say, hey, we think this is fair. And to Emily's point, the $1,000 is not at all reasonable. It's, I mean, if he's gonna plan 274 units now, that's, he needs to fund 274 units, not $1,000, but whatever it would cost somewhere in our community or wherever he wants to do on the project, do a section of 227 units that are affordable housing. So.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks for letting me talk.
Thanks.
It's pretty clear cut to me.
What
Yeah.
we're trying to do is decide how to proceed. Certainly it sounds, we all want to support an affordable housing and this is the gap housing is what I refer to it as. Not the low income housing, but the people that can afford to pay these rents and still have a livable wage. Deviating from what we've agreed to in the beginning that Joe knew was in front of him. I don't know how we deviate from that and look down the road where we would have to take an appeal from another big developer or whatever.
Set a precedent.
We can't set a precedent. That's it in a nutshell. So we either have to amend what our policy is, but this isn't 5.62 like you said, this is a separate agreement.
And the only other piece of information that I think is prudent to wait for both the developer and for the board is that there's been some pushback about what's the need? Is there really a need? Well, we know that Roost has commissioned a housing needs assessment update to the 2020 plan that's actually region based. So not just North Elba, which is important to look at neighboring, because you know, housing in Wilmington still kind of counts as housing here, and jobs in Wilmington or people in Wilmington still, you know, we're not, there's not hard, fast borders. So it's a regional approach within Essex County. I actually didn't ask Adam to define the regions, but I'm sure he would be happy to do that for us. And he
I
thinks
thought it was Essex County as a whole.
it's Essex County as a whole, but then
Right.
there's regions within that, because the need in Crown Point is not the same as the need.
Right.
And so however those regions are delineated, I'm sure like Wilmington and Keene and like Placid, I would guess, are in a bubble.
Driving distance.
Yeah. But it is Essex County, so it's not gonna take in Saranac Lake. And because it's Essex County money, to be fair. So Adam gave a time frame of 9 weeks.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I don't think anything would happen this summer anyway, so I think that will be useful information for the developer and for the board to see.
And the fact is has he cleared the hurdles?
Yeah.
With APA and with
With our own, yeah.
zoning board.
So if the sort of the World University game wasn't sort of a motivator for the APA, would they have made
Well,
that change?
I think it's fair to say that North Elba has done a good job of infilling the community with housing. And there's other places that would love their towns to get more hamlet
Yeah.
on the outsides. But there's times when we've not accepted those applications because there wasn't sewer water,
Sure.
town sewer water or village sewer water. And so we say, hey, upgrade your system so you could accommodate that, and then we would allow hamlet expansion. This one wasn't that hard because the South Science Center was clearly on town sewer and, or village water and village sewer, but I think the amount, like 355 units on a 20-acre or 30-acre parcel. That's once it's Hamlet, as you guys know, it can be as many as you can fill. But I just know that there was discussion about the fact that this was going to be a model maybe for the park, and I think that this is the kind of thing that if we build buildings that house athletes, that might meet the need of future renters and people who want to reside in our community, not, and the town board was very thoughtful, saying, you know, there's no way short-term rentals are going on this property. But I'm not trying to evade your question, but it's pretty, this is an example where originally the whole thing was presented like 37 acres or 40 acres. And the park agency did say, no, we're not gonna have Hamlet on the steep slopes. We're gonna have Hamlet on the flatter area that is welcoming development. So I think whether this was proposed specifically for World University Games, I don't think that's necessarily true. I think what's most important is that the town wanted this and they showed a need for it. And I think the need was for what we all refer to as affordable housing, not, you know, high-end townhouse or condominium sales. And then I think there was another provision that said, you know, no hotels or no, there was like 3 things that were no way they could be done. Whereas the park agency can't do that. They could just say, this is Hamlet and you meet the guidelines of your community plan. It's not like that we're the answer, it evaded your question.
No, I understand, I was maybe putting you in a position that I didn't necessarily want to,
Yeah.
I guess I'm not understanding, and not to belabor this, it's just, I'm not sure why. I think it seems like everything is in place. Are you saying that like having some more data from another housing study would maybe put this request in a different light? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it puts it in a different light, but maybe it helps the developer see that there is a need, because he's trying to say that there isn't. Or maybe he will be right and there isn't. I can't imagine that there's not a need, but hopefully I hope that it makes him feel more comfortable with what he's been asked to develop and what he's agreed to developing, because there is a need there.
We can all be optimistic.
Yeah.
It will help us determine the actual demand.
Yeah, it seems like, well, whatever we had in place seems to be a reasonable demand, but I guess.
You, even in your personal life, this study will help you
Yeah.
move forward.
Yeah, I think all data is good, all realistic data is good data.
Yeah. We can talk outside this meeting, but whether a formal response to Joe is warranted or not. Because I don't understand how things move forward if he doesn't have to go in front of planning board.
Seems like there's a lot of steps that need to be clarified.
I know,
So maybe the next move for this board is to have attorney-client privilege with our attorneys to ask what our next steps are. But I do not think that we as a board should be reaching back to Joe to say yes, no, or anything else. He needs to come back and propose something else.
Well, how does he know to come back and propose something if he doesn't get any yes or
Well,
no?
I guess I would ask Mark Schachner how we inform him of that.
How do we articulate
Obviously,
it?
I think if we are recorded,
Oh, you think that's public enough?
sure.
Okay.
I mean, if he wants to go back and listen to it.
any
I'll be
other
happy to
personal
talk about that.
concerns before I leave
Yeah.
the peaks on the agenda?
Call you 3 times.
Anything we should address?
It's not my fun.
Sorry.
I know, state of the building, I mean, it's derelict, it's open, all the windows are busted out. We have permission to walk our dogs, up at the South Science Center. And, you know, just to walk through there, it's really a concern, it's dangerous. There's people that go on the property, we've seen like vagrants, I don't know if they're living in the building, there's animals in the building. It's a bad state, yeah.
Also, I just out of curiosity, Joe originally had, I don't know, 100 some odd units proposed and now we're up to 300.
No, he had 355. We went down.
355 was the original.
Oh, that's nice.
Yep.
No, I'm a little unaware of these things. I just lived there. So,
The original proposal called for demolishing the current Cell Science Center to the foundation and going up from there. When the review board looked at that proposal some time ago, the height of the buildings as proposed were within inches and feet of the current height of that Cell Science Center. So there was a question out there about that, about visual impact and all that kind of thing. And that was part of the consideration that we went through. We posted, had them put up balloons on one end and all the way across. And it was on that basis that we said, okay to that, thinking that we would still have minimal visual impact from the Dak Shack area, Stewart's, because that's the location that's visible from most. In the winter, it's more visible in the summer, like trees there.
right.
We asked that he keep those trees as well. Sorry, just point of clarification.
I will relay your concern on the condition of the
Thank
building.
you. Yeah.
Yes.
We can relay that to our code office as well.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have their twist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a purpose of doing that.
And anyone else on?
I got a couple other purposeful things he's doing.
All right,
If you want to stick around to hear Derek talk about his pavilions.
listen, I already got shut down.
He tried so hard.
That's from you.
Derek's
building?
pavilions?
Okay,
There we go. Jeez.
all right.
Derek's metal.
Main attraction, here we go.
I might leave, you can sit here.
We got some kids to teach.
So listen, just background on how steel open air pavilions came up. The way Horse Show has been running for 55 years is renting tents every year. If I told you what Horse Show pays to have those tents come in and set up, it's $400,000. Okay, I realize they're only up for a month and a half. Their lease is 2 months, June and July with us. So in trying to find affordable ways to both accommodate the horse show and create an environment where we can have an area that can accommodate more community events, the idea of steel buildings came up. Long and short, we looked at 12 buildings, 2 buildings, 1 building, long story short. The goal of whether we do 1 building, 2 buildings or whatever was to help accommodate all our not-for-profits in the village, different places that want to have fundraisers. We are in a transition now with Park District where we have so many not-for-profits and agencies that like to have fundraisers. They have relied on our Park District staff for years to drop what we're doing and taking care of our own property and running and setting up tents and tables and chairs at 50 different locations. It's become impossible to be able to do that for the community. So in respect for all those efforts, we want to create an avenue for a central location that's all set up with a new kitchen and this new long building that we're in the process of renovating. So we're trying to create a more inclusive property for the whole community. As it stands now, my appeal to the board is to right now just consider putting up 2 smaller buildings that would be running parallel to the new parking lot we did that runs parallel with the runway.
Yes.
So that there's adequate parking, there's a place for farmers markets, for cornhole tournaments, for whatever.
Yeah.
But it would be an avenue for the community. And I think, you know, I've heard accolades for the idea. I've heard a lot of people say it'll ruin the view. We're considerate of all that. So there's no intent to move forward without public comment.
And Derek, one or two of them, they're necessary for the horse show to upgrade the event to incorporate a different sort of another level, correct?
Currently, no, these buildings wouldn't affect the horse show one way or another.
Oh, I thought it was the European circuit. or
Yeah,
something.
the international.
International circuit.
It would certainly complement that.
Okay,
And that's where you're looking at, isn't it next to the new international ring down in that area?
No.
No.
Yeah, that, because you're moving now from here. He's changing his plans as
Yeah.
we're speaking.
Because
so the original, one of the conversations, I know, but one of it is
You're going
to
over
help
there.
the horse show
they're
because
tearing this all
they're
up,
part of a-
stone in there now.
trying to help
Like all
them
these
sort of continue.
Not that we couldn't do that there, we still could. It's just that until there's a more unified plan across the thing. I think accommodating to the community is one way we can start the idea. And there is potential funding for at least one of those buildings from this potential new leaser for 3 months in the winter for 4 years.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Just like the flag.
And then open air.
Yeah. Open air.
Open air.
Yes.
No walls, doors.
So far, that's
Just
all
the
we've
roof.
considered is open air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would the foundation be? Would it be a cement slab? or-
And
That would be the goal, to put a
The
slab.
horse show people would hate that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, no, because when stalls come in, they rubber mat all the stalls.
Yeah.
For the horses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's still rubber mat on concrete. They get fussy about that.
yep. Right now, you know, they're happy with ones and dust with it. Yeah,
But those buildings, you know, even if they weren't used for the horses, for stalls, you know, hay storage, the grain, I mean, all that.
oh, they'd be utilized,
Stuff
that's
that
for
would
sure.
be handy.
Yeah,
And I thought that buildings couldn't be done because of scenic vista, and that with the scenic vista, you couldn't build out on that.
I can tell you the way we propose these buildings is to look at the current height and width of the tents that come in. These buildings are between 6 and 9 feet lower. So the visual impact is less than the tents.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you wouldn't wanna go to the far end near the bridle path, which would be kind of out of the.
that was
the original plan.
that would-
That's the one I was aware of.
and it very well still could be.
Yeah.
Those are where the 2 biggest tents go.
Mm.
And those are being reclaimed now with the sod cut out and the ones and dust being coming in right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's so much going on out there.
yeah.
But the message at the last board meeting was that, and excuse me for this, but
No,
is that unless there is a element of local use,
Yeah.
we're not going to be putting a lot of money into just the horse show. You know, well, the economic impact of the horse show is huge. We all know that. But it's unfair to the taxpayer to be putting up,
Yeah.
you know, $10 million for 2 weeks.
Is there someplace you can access the data that sort of backs up the statement you just made? Because I've heard that from a lot of.
The
people.
economic impact,
Yeah.
yes.
It's on Bruce's
Bruce
website.
has it.
But is it like a Roost estimate or is it like?
No, it's a third-party
How much
contractor.
is Airbnb?
Yes.
Rentals?
That's right.
Yeah.
I view Airbnb rentals as mostly going straight out of the community to.
Well, not occupancy tax,
But-
Yeah.
and then money they spend in
That's a fraction.
restaurants.
Occupancy tax is a fraction. Anyway, I'd like to see the details on that because I.
We don't own the data, it's Roos, but it's on their website.
Because I've seen Roost methodology and it's not.
Bruce didn't do the
That's
study,
right.
though. It's a third party that did the study.
And I looked at that too. And you really can't get to the granular level that I'd love to see. Because I don't, it's hard to believe that those people coming in spend that much money here. They bring their own cooks, they do Airbnbs.
Interesting.
I've seen them at the laundromat.
Yeah, don't use that machine.
You know, they bring their own staff,
Yeah.
they bring their own cooks. They don't, you know,
I don't look at it.
They go to Capiche probably, but.
yeah, they definitely go there.
This is probably not appropriate to bring up now, but I think that could change if the public was more involved with the horse show.
Uh,
Years ago, I was on the board for 20 years.
I knew you knew about horses.
Yeah. You know, like from Newberry right on up. And we always used to go, you know, into town and go to every business and say, you know,
Yes,
thank you for staying open an extra hour. And here are 20 tickets, give them to your customers as they come in, because it's a great way to, you know, keep your customer happy. I know it's raining today. Why don't you go to the horse show? You'll have fun out there or whatever. And that has just been shut down.
Mhm.
And so I think it doesn't, I think the horse show people would be more involved in the community if the community showed more support and enthusiasm for them.
I can tell you, there's an effort underway right now. I was on a Zoom with Adirondack Foundation last week.
Mhm.
They are personally taking a step to get more inclusive between the community and horse show.
Mhm.
This week, they'll be talking with horse show personnel. So there's a good effort for that meld that you're talking about. Now, I can say, in the last few years, regardless of low participation, I've taken hundreds of free tickets
Mhm.
and given them out to the 4-H kids in Willsboro and Westport. And they all come up at least one day by bus and enjoy the event. Yeah.
As a relative newcomer, but with some understanding of the past, you know, with all due respect, think this is a less horsey community than it used to be.
Yes, I think so.
And people used to have their own rings. You mentioned the trails, the bridle paths.
Mhm.
Does anyone, they're not used as bridle. I mean,
Oh,
people.
no, I walk my dog there every day.
Right, you know what I'm
And
saying?
their bridle path when Dick Feldman. was alive, and he
Exactly.
was at the-
So I think it's a legacy
Right.
thing and I, you know,
But the horse show people love that. But I think my point is just that the community really has been shut out in a lot of ways by not including them, by not, I mean, I know you took tickets around, and I've offered for the last 4 years to, you know, I'll give up 4 days and walk up and down Main Street. And, you know, I love Main Street and talk to people and to go to the hotels and try to get some enthusiasm from them, because you need it in both directions.
yeah, I don't think people are that interested.
well, they used to
Like-
have flags, all the
Yep.
businesses used to have flags, signs.
Window.
And yes, but it doesn't seem to be as prevalent.
Well, I think people get maxed out, you know, they're
So-
volunteering for everything. It's like, oh my God, I love where that. We're tired, but it doesn't mean they can't travel, but.
The resurgence is evident though, since the word is out to the horse community of the major renovations we're doing.
Mhm.
Both shows are sold out this year already, and that's 1,100 horses.
Yeah.
Which is significantly different from last year.
And they have a
There's no year-
waiting list already.
Yeah, last year everybody was in Europe,
Okay,
and this year they're not, because last year they were trying to compete against the people that are going to compete in the Olympics.
Mm,
And this year with the FEI rings, they're staying here, they don't have to go to Europe.
fantastic.
But the acid test will be the next year. If the
Right.
footing is really good, like the footing is going in really late. It's beautiful, but it's really late. It needs a good 4 to 6 months to settle,
To settle.
and it's gonna be weak,
Okay,
so. We'll see as far as that goes. And I had emailed you about this. I was out there the other day and there are 2 pallets of gallons of paint. I don't know if you know anything about black paint. And they're gonna paint all that natural wood fencing that they put up black.
Hmm.
But it's green, it's pressure treated, all the paint will just fall off.
I don't know what the product is. I don't know if it's. Well, I know it can't have oil in it, because that's,
Yeah. I didn't know if you had any
yeah.
say to talk to anybody about that. I would just hate to see all that paint put up on wooden fencing and have it look like hell.
It's an unusual color choice too, isn't it?
Yeah, they do a lot of that in Kentucky.
Yeah.
and other places, yeah. But
Yeah, that's what we get.
It's a popular color in different places.
You got,
The new trend
it's
is
not
black.
here.
The new trend is black.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be painting my house.
We appreciate your input.
Yeah, so I have more questions than answers, but I'm just obviously a real enthusiast for the horse show, and I just hope that the community can find a way to become more involved, even little bits
I know.
of tickets to all the merchants or something.
Yeah.
Or even the merchants having the schedule out there.
So anyway, that's all I've got on the steel buildings. It's
Yeah.
up in the air still. Yeah. The last item on our agenda, I'm hoping is an easy one. Terry Bukowski is not returning for Lake Patrol. I think we still need the service. You know, as a board, we agreed to like 20 to 24 hours a week. And the prime times are weekends, of course, midday and weekends. We have a potential person I want to talk to that is interested. Very up to date on the lake, has a boat and knows all the rules and stuff. I think I really just want confirmation from the board that we remain educational. We have no authority to write tickets. We're not gonna take phone calls. We're not gonna be a call center. That's the service we're gonna supply on the lake, and that's it.
We've been through this before, and the one thing I would say is just that we post the position. We still have a very relevant Lake Patrol job description.
Yeah.
So it should be posted.
Yep, I agree. Kathy will be back Monday. Or I can have Adrian put it up
Yeah,
right
you can
away.
just have Adrian, but I don't think the only thing that probably needs to change is the salary range.
Yeah, basically what we did is we allocated an amount for the summer based on previous years. But I think in this case, depending on who applies, it should be hourly.
Even Terry was hourly.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
There was
that's right.
there was a dollar amount set that
Yeah.
he couldn't go over.
We set aside $10,000
Yeah.
last year.
Hmm.
Yep.
And obviously tracking it.
Just, I have to say, I'm just gonna compliment Terry, because the way you just described it is the exact way he administered. And he really, in my opinion, did a good job, because he was, and I had 3 interactions with him, with children and cousins and things, and he wasn't confrontational, he was very informative. Just, hey, if you're on a paddleboard, you should have a vest.
Yeah.
If you're one of the times, it's a new sport called winging, and it's when you have a surfboard with a foil on the bottom, you hold on to a sail. And my nephew was doing it, and I'll admit, we were wrong because he didn't have PFD. And then we had a thoughtful discussion, because we're saying, well, this wing is an inflatable device, and if you were hurt, it's attached to you, so it can't go anywhere. And if you got hurt, you literally can climb into it. And so it was not like, you have to have a life jacket and that's the rule, or it was like, well, let me check into it to see if, because it's such a brand new sport. And whereas with paddleboarding, we know you can fall off the board and the wind takes the board away. If you don't have a life jacket on, you're stuck. So I
listen, we had people.
appreciate the board following your past practice, because it really, on those weekends when there's a lot of non-local voters, it's comforting to have someone.
We've had people moving buoys to kind of protect where their camp is. Listen, he pulled 4 canoers out of the drink and actually saved them. So we're gonna miss Terry, but
But good approach, though, of being informative and not being a
Right.
cop.
yeah. That's all I've got, folks, unless you've got further concerns? Yeah,
Interesting as always.
you still go down where